Ladies and gentlemen, we have some breaking news out of Los Angeles, California. Matthew Stafford, who met with the Rams this morning and was potentially going to field offers from other squads because he only has $4 million guaranteed left on his contract next year, allegedly was asking for a good amount of money. He's staying with the Los Angeles Rams.
Wow.
It was a good meeting this morning. McVay and Matthew Stafford, we assume, and Les Snead as well, met with Matthew this morning in their facility. Who knows what was discussed? Who knows what the deal will be at this exact moment? But what appears to be a statement of, yup, from the Los Angeles Rams is Matthew Stafford staying in L.A.
Rapp is reporting that he ends up taking less than he would have gotten elsewhere to stay with the Rams.
Okay, so we thought that was certainly going to be something that happens. Hometown discount's a real thing, especially at this stage of life. His family has their friend group. He already has everything kind of sorted. His resume's already in place. So to pick up, uproot, and head elsewhere was going to cost some money. I assume the Rams knew that, which might be why they offered him a low deal to begin with. They offer him a low deal and say, all right, if you want to go see somewhere else, and then they find out what the market is, and then they're able to make what is considered a fair deal to keep him around. Yeah. Is that how you view it?
Yeah, I think what they did was they said, look, we don't agree. Why don't you go see what your market is and come back to us? And literally, because we're not in free agency, he had to come back to him.
Yeah.
Right? And so this wasn't the Joe Shame where Joe had, really was in free agency. So, then he comes back, and now all of a sudden, do you move? Do I take $10 million less to stay here, and I have to move? And by the time you add everything up, and I think from the Rams' point of view, is it gave them time to say, okay, where do we get our next quarterback from? Is it Stetson Bennett? Is it somebody else? Where do we go from here? And I think, look, they got the ball on the 13-yard line. They were the only game that
against the Eagles, yeah.
The only tough playoff game. Let's be clear. The only tough playoff game against the Eagles had was that game. And if they don't blow two protections, where they don't block Jalen Carter for some reason and some why, he's throwing the ball in the end zone.
And that guy's special. He just threw two there, Puka, and obviously Cooper is going to be gone, but Sean McVay, we assume in his offense, is going to be able to move the rock. The offense, too, already, which is another added thing about the money going elsewhere. New offense, new system, new home, new life, new everything, new question marks, probably new gripes about things that are happening in that building. That's a lot of new. So in his eyes, he thought it was going to have to be very, very expensive, and I think he thinks he should get paid because of how he's been playing football, and absolutely go ahead and do that. So I'll be excited to hear.
And he stayed healthy, which is key, right? I mean, this has been the key for Matthew is to stay healthy.
Durable.
Right, durable. I mean, nobody throws the ball better than he does. He still can throw the hell out of the ball, and the teams that were interested in him need a quarterback.
Okay, so now that's the domino that falls. The Los Angeles Rams are sticking with Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford is off the board. Now we got the Raiders, the Giants, the Steelers. Put the draft board up. We got the number 1 overall team with the Titans. Who's their quarterback going to be? You got the number 3 overall pick with the Giants. Who's their quarterback going to be? You got the number 2 overall pick with the Browns. They're going to draft a young quarterback. Could draft a young quarterback. Titans could draft a young quarterback. It would make sense. Giants would draft a young quarterback. Would make sense. Yeah. Patriots locked in. Jags locked in. Raiders could draft a young quarterback. Jets could draft young quarterback. So now is everybody's, and you go all the way through there. The Saints, Derek Carr last year, if his could, if they wanted to, they allegedly met with Cam Ward. Niners good, Cowboys good, Dolphins good, Colts could draft young quarterback. I mean, there is a lot of teams that could draft a quarterback. Now that Matthew Stafford is staying with the Rams, if he would have won to any of those teams, obviously that changes the math a little bit. But a lot of teams need quarterback. How do you view that? That's the position.
I think about Sam Darnold, I'm pretty happy.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
I think Sam Darnold's marketability just went up a little bit more, even though I'm sure he has a lot of teams after him. Because who else are the Giants? Who else are you going to call? Who else is out there that you feel like you can watch a tape and say this guy did a hell of a job? You can say, well, his Jet tape wasn't good, but that was a lifetime ago, right?
And speaking of Jet tape, not good. Aaron Rodgers, we don't know what he's going to be doing. Is he retiring? Is he coming back and playing? Our source says have told us that he's out of the country, and we'll be on, I believe, the program next week. So I assume we'll learn a little bit more there. But he's potentially in the market as well currently. Kirk Cousins potentially in the market yet again. There is a chance that he is going to be out there. So a lot of these veteran quarterbacks,
Kirk Cousins will be interesting because he's going to get paid by the Falcons. So he's a little bit like the Russell Wilson situation. So he's going to be an economic value for a team that thinks he still has something left in him.
fresh out of a meeting with Matthew Stafford that resulted in Matthew Stafford remaining with the Los Angeles Rams. Sean McVay, head coach of the Rams, will join us on Monday at 12:15.
Hell yeah.
Sean McVay will be joining us. Shout out to Artemis, the PR guy over there, piecing this together. Very nice to Artis. I'm sorry, not Artemis. Jeez.
Both names cool.
Yeah, Artemis would be. That's a superhero name, which is what he did to make this happen. But Artis for making this take place. And Sean McVay, we can't wait to chat with you,
Oh, yeah, Coach.
Thank you for the honor of joining us on Monday. I can't wait for that conversation.
First time?
I think so, yeah. This will be our first time talking to him. We've learned a lot about him from afar, though. We've obviously watched all his mic'd ups. We've seen him. He was on the microphone for the Super Bowl. Crushed it.
Yeah,
absolutely
really
crushed
good.
it. That's why whenever you hear Amazon's offering him $20 million a year or $30 million a year to call games, it's like, oh, this could potentially be the next voice of football if he wanted to. Madden, John, that is, had a very early start as a head coach for the Raiders, wins a bunch, retires at a very young age, goes into TV, becomes the John Madden. Not that he wasn't an incredible coach. He was. He won a lot, but it was in a short time period. He goes to TV, he takes over. Feels like Sean McVay potentially on the same track if he wanted. But every year he turns it down and he says, I'm a football guy. I'm a football guy. Gruden, same exact thing. Congrats on getting your name back up in the Ring of Honor in Tampa. But with that being said, Sean McVay on Monday is a big deal. How'd they get the deal done, Mad Mel? How'd they get the deal done? How'd they get Matt to stay out there?
Well, I think, you look at it, and it's kind of one of those things where at Matthew Stafford's age, obviously money is a big part of it, but he's made a lot of money. I mean, we all have talked about this, Pat. You've moved a couple times in the last couple years. Moving is the worst fucking thing ever. It sucks, okay? He doesn't want to move his family. He's got kids. He doesn't want to move them from one place to another. And he's at the end of his career, okay? He wants to be in a place where he can win a Super Bowl. We talked about it. The Rams were right there. They pushed the Eagles to the brink. No one else in the playoffs did. If they win that game, they're playing at home in the NFC Championship, and who knows? They might be Super Bowl champions. You could make that argument. Sure, going to Vegas, they got a new everything, Sin City, that'd be great. Are the Las Vegas Raiders going to win a Super Bowl next year? Probably not. Are you going to go play for the New York Giants? Are they going to win a Super Bowl next year?
No.
If you go to the Giants, you're hoping, hey, maybe we'll win 5 games this year. I don't think Matthew Stafford's done that, okay? He played with the Lions when they fucking sucked. He doesn't want to do that again. He's in a pretty good spot in L.A., so I think it all kind of made sense. Hey, I'll go out there. I'll let people kind of smooch my nutsack and
they did a little bit of that, didn't they?
Exactly. They did that a little bit, but at the end of the day, everybody likes that. At the end of the day, I'm going to stay in L.A. with my family. My wife's a superstar here as well with her podcast. My kids are comfortable in school. And I'm going to go hunt another Super Bowl with Sean McVay.
How about him saying, it was nice to feel wanted, though?
Yeah.
Because the Rams trade from Detroit took place allegedly in a resort down in Mexico over like a weekend extended stay. So didn't get necessarily to hear from the entire league on if they would, how much they would pay a Matthew Stafford at this age. Allegedly, there was $90 to $100 million offers out there. I don't know how many of that is ever going to get solidified or firmed up in the public knowledge, but allegedly the Giants were offering 9 figures at this stage to get Matthew Stafford in there into the Daboll offense. Now, with the Matthew Stafford quarterback domino falling, and by falling I mean staying put at home, now all the other veteran quarterbacks are in conversation, including Aaron Rodgers. Adam Schefter has tweeted that now that Matthew Stafford will stay with the Los Angeles Rams, the New York Giants are investigating all veteran quarterback options, including Aaron Rodgers, per sources. So he doesn't just have a source. He has sources. Numerous people talking about that. He's at the Combine. A lot of people at the Combine. It's like, yeah, we will certainly investigate whether or not he can keep the same house. He doesn't have to move. He actually already has this house in New Jersey, and he can come play for the New York Football Giants. It'll be a different experience over here than it was for the New York Jets, and I assume he's not the only one. They're also going to be peeking at Sam Darnold and others as the veteran quarterback market is now a little bit more wide open with Stafford staying.
There's also some buzz about Russ Wilson going to the New York Giants, and I think that's, it's not too far-fetched because if you guys remember, I remember because I'm a Steelers fan, he left the New York Giants facility and flew to the Pittsburgh Steelers facility last year, and then he never left the facility and became a Pittsburgh Steeler. So they had interest. They had a lot of interest in Russ last year. The New York Giants did. So it wouldn't be far fetched to think that they would be potentially interested in him again this year if it's not Aaron.
What are your thoughts?
I think the only difference between the Jets and the Giants is the colors. So I don't know if Rodgers wants to do that.
Yeah, but red, white, and blue.
Per se. Yeah, great, fantastic colors. One of the best schemes out there when it comes to colors. But I think that would probably sting for Rodgers. I think no matter what, all the teams that were maybe possibly drafting the quarterback, depending on, Stafford, are still going to now be in the quarterback market. If we're looking at Cleveland and we're looking at the Giants when it comes to the draft, Cleveland, the Giants, the Raiders, and pending Sam Darnold, if Rodgers or Cousins or Russell goes to any of those three teams, I think those three teams all still are thinking like, hey, we still need a long-term option, especially when it comes to Aaron. Aaron's, going to be 42, or if he's not already. That's not a
if he wants to play. I think that's something that does get forgotten.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers could certainly decide to retire. And that is not something. It's Aaron Rodgers football.
Yeah.
I mean, he is
before the darkness. He said
90-80% or something like that.
It's like 90-10, 80-20. Yeah, so it's not as if that is like something that he has never thought about. He was going to do it with the Packers before that situation played out how it played out.